Hello and welcome back to more of a six. Palace are Community Shield winners. The championship is back and the football is only going to keep coming. Today I'm joined by all of the boys. How are we, lads?
Good. Well, not after yesterday, but in general, I
Good.
suppose
Good
I'm all
after
right.
yesterday.
Now, this isn't a Palace only podcast, but unfortunately for Matt,
Should be.
the biggest stories of the weekend have actually revolved around the club, both in a positive and a negative way. This morning, the Court of Arbitration for Sport announced that Palace will be demoted to the Conference League. This comes obviously after yesterday, the club winning their first Community Shield after they beat Liverpool 3-2 on penalties, with 21-year-old Northern Ireland international Justin Devenny scoring the winner. So we're going to quickly touch on that and also Palace's demotion. We're not going to touch too much on kind of the injustice of it all because we could talk all day about that. It's probably the wrong decision, and it wouldn't have happened if it was a different team. But we are where we are. We'll play in the Conference League next year. But more on yesterday's game. I'm assuming everyone watched it.
Watched it unsuccessfully.
You did. So let's go to Matt first. What did you actually think of the game if you take your Brighton hat off?
Yeah, listen, as a neutral, I think you completely deserve to win it. You were always a threat on the transition. I think Liverpool only had 2-3 really clear-cut chances. There are so many teams. I think Glasner's system is so much better set up to play against the bigger teams because obviously they press really high. They're intense as well, and they play really hard. They leave so few bodies back. And that really suits Mateta, who's a dual-winning monster. So you ping a ball into Mateta, he wins that first ball. You've got Eze there as well. Sarr, who's a great runner. Same with Munoz. The amount of space Munoz finds, I feel like that can also make you a little bit one-dimensional at times, but you see him every single time. Every attack goes through Munoz, and teams just don't know how to stop it, really. So,
Kyle, what did you think of the game?
I think the better team won, to be honest. I just don't think for how nice and shiny Liverpool look going forward. I just think at the back they are a bit of a problem. I think Van Dijk didn't have the greatest game, and I understand why they may be prioritising signing Isak, but for that amount of money, I think from that game it kind of made it pretty clear that they could really do with some sort of reinforcements in defence. Because the first half, they had the majority of the possession, I'd say, Liverpool. They had the majority of the chances. But the second half, you guys were all over them. And I think you were completely robbed of the penalty as well.
Yeah, we can touch on that. It was a blatant how I watched it from home. We'll go to Charlie and Corey in a minute because obviously they were at the ground. I was sat with a Manchester United fan and a QPR fan, two very good mates of mine. We were all kind of obviously wanting Palace to win, but taking off the red and blue glasses for a second, I don't understand how that penalty wasn't given. I mean, it's a blatant handball. He's essentially caught the ball midair. I didn't actually, because at first the TV directors must have thought that the appeals were against Kirkes's block, so it all went to that. And then they kind of realised, but I'm not sure how looking back they didn't give that as a penalty. Charlie, in the ground, what did you make of that decision? But also, what did you make of the game as a whole?
To be honest, I can't say that I wasn't of the same viewpoint initially as the TV personnel because I thought it was also to do with the block. I just assumed that Sarr had shot and it had been blocked, gone over, and it hit a hand. I didn't see it at the time.
Did you get to see the replay on the big screen when they were checking?
So they were kind of. With replays, I don't know about Corey, if Corey knows, they only really replayed stuff like 3 minutes after, and it was only like shots on goal, and it was only if there was like a big break in play. You don't really get replays, and I didn't really have a clue what was going on. I just saw that they were checking pen. I saw obviously all the players running over to the ref. Obviously I've seen it since. It's obviously a penalty. Like, I don't see the point in having VAR there if that's not going to be given. But we can't necessarily complain because obviously, there were lots of people saying that we got away with it in the FA Cup final with a VAR decision. And I've always said that's football. That happens. You get them for you and you get them against you. But I thought we were really good yesterday. I thought we started quite slowly. After about 5 minutes, I was a bit scared. Thought it was going to end quite badly. But In the end, I thought we grew into the game really well. A big turning point for me was actually Kamada coming off. Not that he was like necessarily really bad, but Hughes just changed the game. He's so physical. Hughes and Morton together really like pointed out how light Liverpool's lineup was in midfield. Curtis Jones was doing his best in there as like a single pivot with Szoboszlai and Wirtz in front. But yeah, our two lads just bullied them, I think, and that's where he won the game.
Corey, what did you make of the game as a whole, but also the penalties? What did you think about
The game as a whole was much like Charlie said. Started a bit nervous, and I'd like to apologise from the first episode where I said Ekitike would be rubbish. I was very wrong. That guy is dynamite.
He was so good.
Is scary, and they looked like a different team when he went off. It completely changed it in our favour. But then the pens, I mean, annoyingly, they were down the other end of the ground, obviously. So you don't really get to see as much. But I knew one thing for certain, and that was that Eze was going to miss because he can't take a pen to save his life. But,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know,
it
we
was an
won,
awful
so no
pen.
one can complain.
It's that technique, innit? Like the run
It's
and jump
terrible.
and the pause.
Well, and then
that
Sarr
just
does
makes
the
you so
exact
much more
same thing
predictable.
just after it. You're sat there
Mm.
thinking, "Oh Jesus!"
Yeah, but Sarr
But
actually hit the
Sarr's
ball.
was
There's a
unbelievable.
difference.
Probably the
It
best.
was a
of
good
the lot.
ban, yeah.
It was a
Sarr
great
hit the
penalty.
ball. There's the big difference. Eze
He
didn't
did.
connect properly with the ball.
Yeah, and I think we'll quickly we'll go to Sam in a second. Just quickly on the penalties, I think it takes a big pair of bollocks to step up like Justin Devaney did. And Dean Henderson joked after the game that he offered to take the penalty, and Justin said, "No, I'm scoring." And I mean, it was probably after Szoboszlai's maybe the best struck penalty of the lot. No keeper saves those. And what a moment for the young lad! What a way to win it! He's slowly integrated into the Palace first team. More general football fans might not be aware of him, but we only signed him 2 years ago from Ireland, and he's doing brilliant stuff. Sam, what did you make of the game as a whole? And also, what are your thoughts on the Community Shield as a trophy?
Oh, I've always said it's a massive trophy personally. From the very start. If we'd have lost that, I would not have said it's a Mickey Mouse trophy. I'm just saying that now.
It's a glorified friendly if you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Glorified
if you win,
friendly anyway.
it's a major, as long as you don't win it in
Bitter.
1910, because that obviously doesn't count. I think it's good. I think it's there's fans of bigger teams that might look down on it a bit because they win so much, but it's another nice day out. It's another thing to add to the trophy cabinet that we now have two of, and Brighton don't have anything. But no, yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the match as well. I think we were the better team, and I think one of our biggest strengths came from. I don't know why they did this, but Kerkez sort of like not only went high up the pitch, but he kind of came inside as well, which left a lot of space for Munoz. I think that was one of our biggest strengths. We just kept pinging it out down the line to him. So yeah, brilliant day. It's been overshadowed a little bit by today's ruling, but no, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you make a good point there about Kerkez. I think that could be a struggle for Liverpool. I don't necessarily think that their issues defensively are but the personnel of their centre-backs. I think they're two brilliant players. Although Van Dijk did make a couple of poor judgments yesterday, stepping up to try and play an offside trap, giving away a penalty. But I think you make a good point. Frimpong was essentially playing as a right winger. He was further forward than Salah a lot of the time. And Kerkez, you make a really good point again. He did come in. He was almost like the central of a free centre-back at times.
Yeah.
And you're right, it left a lot of space. Moving on from Palace, obviously the Championship kicked off this weekend. We had some pretty good games. Bristol City obviously stunned Sheffield United, winning 4-1 at Bramall Lane. Sheffield Wednesday went a goal up amidst all of the kind of controversy going around their club at the minute. They did go on to lose against Leicester. And Southampton scored twice in stoppage time to beat Wrexham. Did anyone catch any Championship action, and what were your thoughts on the opening weekend?
I saw a lot of the games. I watched all of the highlights, and I was keeping an eye on them whilst they were going on as well. I just think generally, as like a common rule, I feel like the quality. People love to talk about the gap between the Premier League and the Championship, right? And how these teams that come up, they struggle because there's such a big gap. I think the general quality of the Championship is much higher nowadays. Like last season, obviously Bristol City and Mill were both two teams that kind of weren't expected to be up there. and kind of, I think Millwall missed out on the playoffs as well. But they look really good against Norwich, who aren't a poor side at all, and have had a decent summer. And Bristol City were unbelievable, and that Scott Twine free kick, I don't know if anyone else caught that, but that was
Super.
Did anybody
absolutely
else?
outrageous.
Did anybody else pick up on the performance of their right wing back? I can't actually remember his name. at
Yes.
this moment.
Oh, yeah.
He was
Oh no, it's
superb.
Ross McCrory, I think. Is it McCrory?
Yeah, I think it
Something
might
like
be.
that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Scored a very nice
Player.
goal with a first
That's good,
class
yeah.
finish. Also, just very good defensively. I was watching him thinking, I'd check how old this lad is because he looks handmade for a Glasner system, to be honest. Obviously doing it at a lower level, but I did like the look of him. Corey, did you catch any championship action?
I did. Firstly, I'd like to the point you just made, we're really good at buying from a lower level and making them good. So I think he'd be fine. But I watched highlights for most of the games, but I was watching Southampton Wrexham, and all I have to say on that is I am so glad Southampton scored in the last minute. I think Wrexham play terrible football, and I cannot wait for them to get found out.
Yeah, I think that's a
Couldn't have
fair
said it
point.
any better.
I'm not sure about obviously with Wrexham and Birmingham coming into the league. There's all of this kind of focus on them. But I think you're all right. The general standard in the Championship is very good. A couple more football kind of life things that are happening at the moment. Obviously, Kyle, you've got a nice big game on Wednesday night against PSG. How are you feeling about that? Obviously, we saw them get turned over by Chelsea in the final of the Club World Cup, but they were so dominant last year in Europe and obviously absolutely smashed Inter Milan, as we touched on in our first episode. What are your thoughts heading into that game?
Listen, like, even if we do, it would be nice to win it, right? But it is also just another glorified pre-season friendly.
Another?
Hey,
Don't know the other ones.
He's spot
Well,
on.
wouldn't be talking about the Community Shield, would you, mate?
No, definitely not. But no, I mean, it would be nice to win it, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't very nervous for it, particularly because we have been quite slow in the market actually signing players. We're without Kulusevski, James Maddison, Solanke. I think he's been included in the squad, but that whether he actually starts or not. The same with Udogie. So we could be going into the final with a front line of Tell, Richarlison and Kudus, who I think Tell at the moment isn't good enough to make an instant impact. I think the only one in that front three that you'd really say is like a real key player who'll be playing in a fully strengthened side would be Kudus. So I am worried. But at the end, I just want us to put in a decent performance, like no matter what the scoreline, as long as it's something encouraging for us to build upon in the league when we have more players back or we've signed more players, for example, Savio, which I'm praying that goes through. So I just want a convincing performance, really. That's all I can ask.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we're all looking forward to that game. I will definitely be tuning in to watch that. Either way it goes, I think it will be a good game. We've spoken a lot about Frank's Spurs team and how exciting they are as a prospect going into this year. So it will just be good to kind of get a level. I think that it's so nice to have the football back. Just on a personal note, it's just brilliant. I really enjoyed yesterday. Obviously the result helped that. Let's move on. There's been quite a lot of movement on the transfer front since we last spoke. We'll go to you, Matt, first, because there's been rumours about Carlos Baleba potentially going to Manchester United. What can you tell us about that, and what are your thoughts on the situation?
Well, we view Carlos Baleba as better than Moises Caicedo in terms of his time at Brighton. So we're going to demand a similar fee, obviously being a British transfer record, 115 million for Moises Caicedo. And can I see United paying that? Probably not, but are United one of the clubs stupid enough to pay that? Definitely. I think it's probably public knowledge at this point that Baleba will be open to the move, but he's not one of those players that is going to force a move like Moises Caicedo, I can't imagine. And I hope not anyway, but because of Moises Caicedo forcing a move and Cucurella and whoever else was forced to move, I've got a little bit of PTSD. So, but yeah, no, Baleba is a very rare profile. I don't think you get many players that can dictate the game at his speed and his tempo and his dominance as well. he is a very, very good fit for Manchester United. And there's been a lot of delusion, but listen, if we keep Baleba, great. But also if we do lose him, and we get probably a British record, then also great. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, for sure, and it's part of your model as it is ours. I think that's why we're looking to maybe try and move Gay on. With obviously Colwell's ACL injury, Chelsea probably entering any sort of bidding war that could take place. And having played so well yesterday against Liverpool, I'm sure they'll come in. But it's important to kind of, I think, know your place in the food chain, especially for us. Maybe not you so much, Kyle, but for us, we are selling clubs. We have to sell to kind of sustain ourselves. Another move, which I really want Corey's thoughts on, is Grealish to Everton. It got the here we go this morning. From Fabrizio. It's a loan move. I'm not sure about an option to buy. I can't quite remember, but what do you think about that move, Corey?
I think it could be perfect for him, to be honest. I think it's the right sort of team for him to go to. There's a lot less pressure than at Man City. And if I'm totally honest, as a big fan of Grealish's, I'd just like to see him back at his best and firing in time for the World Cup, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. It's an important year for a few players. Grealish, Rashford. Rashford started really well at Barcelona. He looks really, really good. So yeah, it's a massive season ahead with obviously the World Cup coming up, and that goes for English players and non-English players. Sam, what are your thoughts on another transfer that apparently is nearing completion? It's James McAtee to Forest for just 20 million, which seems cheap in my opinion.
You're not going to catch me saying anything nice about Forest at the moment, but I do think it's a brilliant move for whoever does end up getting him for 20 million. I do not know why we're not going for that. If we're facing down the barrel of losing Eze, I don't know why we're personally not going through with that. Not to make everything about Palace, but if Forest do get him, that'd be a brilliant signing, obviously.
Yeah, he's great, and you'd imagine there'll be a buyback or at least a matching option for City in the future.
Has to be, because there's no way he's worth 20 million. He could be double that, I think.
Yeah,
I waited another year.
I think so. Charlie, have there been any other rumours that have kind of caught your attention?
I just really like the Grealish one personally. I feel like that's just such a good move for him. I think if there's any manager that can get the best out of him again, it's David Moyes. It's a really exciting year for Everton fans, isn't it? They could really push on this year. They had a great end of last season, new stadium, exciting new signings, like a lot of smart signings as well. Players that are going to come in and improve them. I'm just really excited to see how Grealish does because, like Corey said, I'm a big fan and I just really want to see him back at his best.
Yeah, he's one of those players that he is very likable, and you kind of want the best for him. He does a lot of good things off the pitch as well. He just seems like a nice bloke all round. So obviously we wish him the best of luck. Obviously, aside from when he is playing against our teams. Moving on to one of the main segments for this video, I've asked everyone to build their best team made up of players outside of the top six. So that's going to be obviously include the likes of Palace and Brighton, Forest, Newcastle. I'm allowing players that are at those clubs to date. So, for example, Isak, Visser, those sorts of players. One rule that we put in was maximum 2 per team. Originally, we were going to do a combined team. And that was going to be, we've lost Matt for a second, but I'm sure he'll be able to jump back in. We were going to do a combined team and said 1 per team. So a couple of the lads have stuck to that, and I take my hat off to them. I think Corey has, and I can't quite remember who else, but that is it's a right challenge. So what we'll do, we'll take a very quick break, and then we're going to come back with that segment. Welcome back. So we're back from the break, and we have found Matt again. I think he went in hiding somewhere because he didn't want to think about Palace.
Oh, have a day off.
But we're going to crack on with this segment. So as I said just before the break, each of the lads have built their team. A couple of the boys have stuck to the 1 player per team rule. So fair play to you boys, because I did mine quite quickly I was quite busy this morning, so I didn't have much time, but that's quite an impressive effort. So we're going to go to Charlie first. What we'll do, you're going to speak us for your team, and we'll overlay an image of each person's team on the screen just at the start, and then we can have a little chat about it. So, Charlie, if you want to walk us through your team and let us know what you've gone for.
So, unfortunately, I've not quite done one per team. I have got two per team, though. Well, not, max two per team. I've gone for the Glasner. I was going to go for the Glasner 3-4-2-1. And then I remembered that I can only get two Palace players in. So, I changed my mind. I've gone for a 4-3-3 kind of thing, right? In goal, I've got Sells. I just feel like he just probably is one of the best goalkeepers, best of the rest. I put Henderson was in there with a shout, and so was Pickford, but I managed to not use up another Forest player. Left back, I've got Anthony Robinson from Fulham. Right back, I've got Livramento. Two centre backs, Milenkovic and Konsa. The two DMs. By the way, I genuinely think this would be the best midfield in the Prem. Baleba and Wharton. The 10 is Eze. And then either side out wide, Matoma and Bowen, and then Isak up top. That's what I've gone with.
Okay, yeah, I like the sound of that. You've left Mark Gay out. Is that just because you were prioritising other positions?
Oh, I just think Wharton and Eze just have to be in there.
Yeah, this was a struggle for me, but and this is the case for a few teams where there's a few players that you really want in, and you kind of have to sacrifice certain positions. Let's go to Matt's team and find out how many Brighton players he's tried to wiggle in.
I've just realised, because I was going to stick to the one per team, and I've just realised I've got two Brighton players. I'm going to fix it quickly. Can you go to someone else? I'm just kidding, yeah.
Okay, let's swap over to, let's do Sam. Sam, what have you got, mate?
I did the two per team, just full warning, because that was on the brief. I went for Pickford in goal, because where else are you going to use an Everton player? And also he's, outstanding, really. He's still a great goalkeeper in my eyes. My back line, I've got Ola Aina at right back. I don't think he's better than certain other players, but I prioritise getting two other Palace and two other Newcastle players in, because I do think it's between them three clubs right backs. I've gone for a centre-back partnership of Gay and Murillo, because they are, in my opinion, the best two centre-backs outside of the big six. Left back, Anthony Robinson's an absolute tap-in for everyone's team. He's probably the best left back in the league. I went completely differently with my midfield too. I went for a bit more attacking, but a double pivot of Tielemans and Bruno G. I think Tielemans has to be in this team, firstly. And Bruno G is brilliant. And then I've gone for a 4-2-3-1 in front of them from right to left. I've gone Bowen, Morgan Rogers in the 10, and then Eze is sort of a left 10. I know I've said before on this pod I don't think he's a left winger, but I had to get him in. And then up front is obviously Isak.
Yeah, I like that team. I think I'm not going to spoil mine, but I think saying that Pickford's the only Everton player you could go for might be an oversight in a way. I think, like you said, this is the problem with, and you've gone with Aina at right back. I think that it's a good shout to kind of, I think a lot of people would probably agree that Munoz would probably be in there, but you don't want to kind of with the limit, you kind of have to be smart, don't you?
I can't sacrifice Gay and Eze. Gay's the best centre back outside the big six, one of the best in the league in my opinion, and Eze is he's just come off the back of winning a club trophy. He has to be in as well.
Yeah, for sure. Matt, are you ready to go with yours?
50-50.
Let's give it.
I've now put three Brighton players in, so.
Well, that's absolutely
I can take one out.
Okay,
right. I'll take one out.
Let's go to Corey.
I can do mine. I've just
okay. Well, no, sorry. We'll stay with Matt. What have you got then, mate?
Right. So I've gone a bit different in goal. I've actually gone with Queeman Kelleher in goal. I really, really rate him. And I'm sure you boys do as well from his time at Liverpool. One, if not the best backup in the league. And Brentford have done really, really. They've upgraded, in fact, on Flecken. I think Flecken was crap. In centre back, I've gone with Branthwaite and Guehi. I did want to get Van Hecker in there, but I think he's sort of the one Brighton player I can sacrifice there. You watch Van Hecker, you will realise he's elite, really. He can be. And he can take the step up. And left back, I've gone with Robinson, but I do think Juve can reach that level. And he's gonna turn a lot of heads this season. So I'll stick with Robinson for now, but we will see with Juve. And right back again, I've got a bit different. I think you can say Munoz for sure. But I've gone with Wan-Bissaka because he's very, very good getting up and down, elite 1v1 as well. DM, I've gone with Wharton. I don't think there's much argument with that. Also Baleba as well. Morgan Rogers in attacking midfield. Again, you could say Eze, but I'm right. There's two players, don't get me wrong, two players I enjoy watching and they're really good to watch. But personal preference is just Rogers, and that's no bright bias. I just think he's very similar to Rutter as well in the way he carries the ball and just shrugs players off, and I really, really like that. And they're strong sort of carriers, just like Semenyo, who's at right wing as well. And I think that explains itself, to be honest. I think how he hasn't got a big move yet should be questioned. Then in striker, I don't think there's any questioning Alexander Isak. And then at left wing, I've gone with Kaoru Mitoma.
Okay. No, I think you've been very fair there. I think that, as we've all said, there's kind of an argument where you're kind of stuck with. There's a handful of teams, Brighton, I'd include in there, Newcastle, Villa, Palace, where there's kind of you would maybe, if you could have as many as you wanted, you probably have more than two. So it's about sacrifice. I think it's interesting you've gone with Wharton. I mean, for me, I prioritise some other positions for Palace, but I do think Wharton is one of the best midfielders in the league. Who haven't we gone to? Should we have Corey up next?
First things first, the original brief was one per club, and as you can see, if it focuses, you can't. I had real trouble with this. There are about 8 Palace players that I could have put in, and I've had to leave out so many people. But I've settled with, in the end, for one per team. Pickford in goal. He was second for the Golden Glove last year. I think without him, Everton would have been in real trouble. Then a back four of Wan-Bissaka, Konsa, Guéhi, and Robinson. And I do think those two centre-backs should be England's starting centre-backs as well. And again, because I was doing one per club, Branthwaite was very close, but I preferred Pickford. And then, no chance. Midfield 3, I've got Baleba, Xhaka, and Morgan Gibbs-White.
Of course, you've got Xhaka in.
I was doing one per club for one, so only 3 clubs could miss out, and also he'd be in there anyway. And then a front 3, and I've sort of cheated. I have 2 wingers that kind of don't play on the wing. Well, Wissa especially, but he's there with Semenyo on the other side. And then I was kind of hoping Isak would be gone, so I had any reason to put Mateta in, but he's not, so it's obviously him.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. And I respect the fact that you've gone for one per team. That's very impressive. And I think you've built quite a nice team now, actually. I think that'll compete well. I'll get mine out of the way. Like I said, threw this together, so I'm quite happy with it, to be fair. I think Pickford has to be in goal. I think Henderson's a better keeper. I think there are a couple of better keepers, but obviously with the limitations, Pickford has to be there. Livramento at right back. I think he's underrated, to be honest. I think he's very good. I've also gone for Branthwaite and Guéhi. I think that Branthwaite is more of a kind of, you're looking at the potential that he has. But Mark Guéhi has to be there. Anthony Robinson, as Sam mentioned, is an absolute tap-in. Although, as Matt said, Juve could well be up there at some point as well. He looks really, really good. I've gone for midfield 3 of Baleba, Tielemans, and Eze. I think Baleba for me has to be in there. Obviously, as much as it pains me to say, I think he is just superb. Every time I watch him, I'm impressed. Tielemans, he's just consistent. I probably have Wharton in there over Tielemans, but obviously we've got the limits we have. Eze in the 10, it speaks for itself. He is, I think, just unbelievable. And then I've got a front 3 of Jarrod Bowen, Yoane Wissa, and Alexander Isak. I think Wissa has to be there. He's so brilliant. And obviously there's a few players here, the likes of Baleba, Guéhi, even Eze, Wissa, and Isak that could well in 2 weeks' time not be eligible for this list. But I'm pretty happy with my team. There's decent balance there. Kyle, what have you gone for?
So I've stuck with the 2 players from each club. In goal, I've went for someone different, and I'm not sure if Matt would agree, but I went for Verbruggen. I just really like him, and as well, I believe that Bayern Munich were interested in him at some point, and they were quoted at around 60 million. I believe that was Florian Plettenberg that said that. So, a keeper as being Neuer's replacement, he's held in high regard. Right back, I went for Munoz. He's just extremely solid defensively. What he can't do in crossing, he makes up for just his all-round defensive game. Centre-backs, I went for Guéhi, obviously standout at the Euros, led Palace to your first ever major trophy and the Community Shield yesterday. He's comfortable in possession, playing on his weaker foot, and the interest from Liverpool is deservedly so. Went for Murillo as the other centre-back. I just think I think he's such a fun player as well. He's so good on the ball. He's a flary centre-back, which you never really see, to be honest. He's very skillful. Left back, I went for Robinson. He's had a few really solid seasons now, linked to Spurs and Liverpool in the past. Top 15% for all defensive stats except blocks. Excellent carrier of the ball, able to beat his man. He's just quick, strong, really solid overlapping fullback. Centre mids, I'm playing a 4-2-3-1. Centre mids, I went for Baleba. I think don't really need to go into too much detail with him. The other centre mid, I've went for Bruno Guimaraes. Other than Isak, he's probably been the main man in the middle of the pitch at Newcastle for a few years now. Great progressor of the ball. He's intelligent. He's aggressive. He's just everything that you'd want in a ball-winning midfielder. Cam, or the 10, sorry, we're not playing FIFA. I've went for Morgan Gibbs-White. I can see you all pulling your faces now, but he shouldn't even be on this list because he should be a Spurs player. But he's an incredible player. He's just getting better and better each year. 15 goals and assists in 34 league matches last season. It was a huge reason why they got Europe. Can do the gritty side of his game as well. Tackles, interceptions. He averages 1.38 tackles a game. I believe that ranks him in the top 20%. Left wing, I've went Morgan Rogers. He's played there quite a fair bit for Aston Villa, and in my opinion, he's probably I would want him at Spurs more than Eze. That's maybe
quite a bold
bit.
shout. It's quite a bold shout. Younger, I guess, a bit younger. Maybe.
Like you said in previous episodes as well, that there's kind of a misconception about Eze being able to play on the left as well as the 10, whereas with Morgan Rogers there is that.
So why is Eze not in your 10?
Well, to be fair, I have a little something to tell you guys after the episode. I've been speaking to someone, so I'll let you guys know. Right wing, I've got Bowen. He's probably the only positive thing about West Ham last season. And then striker, Isak. I don't need to explain that one.
Yeah, I think some very, very nice teams. I think they'd all do very well. What we'll do is we'll get all the lads to send over the list. We'll make up some little images and we'll get them over later. You can all see them in their glory. And then we'll have a little poll in the Spotify comments and also the YouTube comments and up on the X so that you guys can vote for who you think has the best team. Very well done, boys. I think you've all done a really good job. So the last thing we'll touch on ahead of the end of this episode is looking forward to the weekend. The Premier League's returning. Obviously, the curtain raiser for the Premier League is Liverpool versus Bournemouth, I believe, on Friday. That'll be an interesting game. Definitely one to watch. We'll all have to keep an eye on that. And who have Brighton got? Sorry, Matt.
We've got Fulham.
Is that home or away?
At home.
Okay, and how are you feeling ahead of that?
A bit 50-50 because we have a bit of a dark record against them. I mean, we beat them for the first time in the Premier League only last season. and they've had a good preseason as well. I believe they haven't lost in preseason. I know they played the other day, but I didn't see the results, so that might be complete rubbish. But again, neither have we. I think we've had a strong preseason. We've made some strong signings as well. I don't know. Just good to be back, to be honest, more than anything. But yeah, just hope we get a result. I think we've got a pretty tough opening 5 games, so we really need to be picking up a win if we do want to set our sights high on Europe, let alone the top 4, top 5. If we are going to be looking for that, so we need to be looking to beat the Fulhams and the smaller teams, especially this year.
Yeah, I think it's all about getting off to a good start. Kyle, what's going on with Spurs this weekend after, of course, the Super Cup on Wednesday?
Yeah, we've got one of the promoted teams at home in Burnley. I think it would be extremely Spursy of us to beat PSG on Wednesday and then get 10 over at home to Burnley. I can already see it happening, but no, I'm hoping that maybe we wrap up a few deals in the next coming days, and maybe get them involved in the match somewhere or another. But I'm expecting nothing less than 3 points, really.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. And like you said, it would be very Spursy, but I don't think you expect that to happen. Obviously, Palace have a trip to Stamford Bridge. Corey, what are you thinking ahead of that game? Obviously, playing Club World Cup champions.
I'm thinking about triple captaining Cole Palmer and FPL.
Oh, no.
To be honest, I don't think it's going to go well. I'm not very confident at all of going to the Bridge and getting anything out of them, to be honest, even with how well we played yesterday. I think past that, we'll have a good start, but I do not see the game against Chelsea going well at all. I think we could concede 4 or 5, to be honest with you.
I mean, I hope not, but it is a tough opening game for sure. And I mean, a lot of us have said that we back them to do very well this year. Char, what are your thoughts ahead of our visit to Stamford Bridge?
Before yesterday, I was thinking similar to Corey. I thought we'd get absolutely turned over by them. But look, we're still obviously likely to lose that game. You go there, you come away with a point, you're absolutely delighted with that. And to be honest, I feel like we're always competitive. Under Glasner, it's very rare.
We're
that
losing
we go
Charlie a little bit
up
there.
against
I'm
someone.
not sure what's going on with Charlie's connection. We'll go. Oh. Charlie, you still there, mate?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back now. What we'll do, Sam, if we can just cut that out and then just jump to Char starting again. Sam, Char, do you want to just start that again? We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, of course. Sorry. Before yesterday, I was thinking similar to Corey. To be honest, like we would probably get turned over, but we are always quite competitive under Glasner. It's very rare that we go up against anyone they completely turn us over. We're very much in games a lot more often under Glasner, and I think look, you go there, you come with a point, you're delighted. We could always get something out of that game. It's possible, but the likelihood is that they've looked really good, Chelsea, haven't they? They've got so many players and so much more depth. I'm already thinking about Forest the week after at home. I cannot wait to batter that fat bastard sitting in the stands. If he turns up at Selhurst, mate, it's lights. But I'm really looking forward to that.
He banged Gary Neville
can't fit through the turnstiles.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And
we don't have extra large
notoriously-
seats at Selhurst, mate. Yeah.
Selhurst does have notoriously slim turnstiles. Finally, we'll go to Sam. What are your thoughts ahead of the weekend, mate?
I'm actually just looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to regular football. I'm more also not looking forward because it's been a bit, at the moment it's been a bit of a downer, but just having some Europe games. I think we should just focus on that. I'm not fussed if we do a Spurs and finish 17th and go deep in the Conference League. That's what I want this season. So
yeah, I think that's fair.
As long as we put in some good performances throughout the season, stay up and have a good go at Europe, I'm happy.
Yeah, maybe try and put up a bit of a defence of our FA Cup. You never know. We've done it last year.
Why not?
No reason we can't do it again. I'm sure Matt would be absolutely thrilled if that happens. And I'm sure if it did, we would sort our paperwork out in time so we didn't have to deal with any of the nonsense we have this
But
summer.
we're getting it done in February this year. I'm telling you that.
It will
Like,
have to.
it's 100%.
I mean, the
We don't
deadline's
need to
changed
sort
for
any
that.
paperwork because we've got rid of that American knob.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and we've replaced
So-
him with
Just-
another American knob. So
Yeah.
we'll see
So
what
that's
happens.
what there's no Leon say.
Tell what's his name? Tell Paris to check his emails. this
Yeah,
time.
I've not actually heard that one before. That was a great joke.
Yeah. You should check your trophy cabinet while you're there.
Info at
Yeah, might
cpfc.co.uk.
need a little dusting. Unfortunately, Matt, you're on a podcast with
1910.
2017 second place championship. No? No.
Get
that's
a
great.
grip.
Warren
That's impressive,
Trophy.
Right, before we have to bring out the boxing gloves, let's wrap up today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to More of a Six. Really appreciate all the support that we've had so far. We're really enjoying it, and we're going to keep it up, definitely. So thanks a lot for that. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, just leave a like and subscribe. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and obviously let us know whose team was the best. And maybe let us know your best of the rest 11. Try and follow the same rules, maximum 2 per team. If you're on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. And yeah, I can't really ask for much more than that. So other than that, I'll quickly give each of you the chance to give your parting thoughts. So we'll start with Matt.
I don't know what to say really. I don't know if I can say much without someone reacting with War Trophy or whatever else. But listen, this is our year for the league. 2026. Who knows? We might do a treble, and we'll come back to this.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I don't think we're
Could
going
you
to.
imagine that though? You boys could not come back onto this podcast again if we won a treble.
It's a good thing that was never
There's a
going to
lot of
happen
ifs
in a
here.
million
A
years.
lot of ifs.
Yeah, cheers. Sam, any last thoughts, mate?
We don't do if, buts, and maybes. We do absolutes. We've done a double. We're going to say that's a double. I'll call it that. You can dream about a treble, but we've got
Double.
2 trophies.
Community Shield.
2 trophies, 1 year. 2 trophies in 1 year. That's a double, isn't it? I believe that's how it works.
It's in 3
Sorry.
months, isn't it? It's not even a year,
Yeah,
mate.
2 trophies in 3 months.
could
Has
be-
anyone in England won more trophies than us this year?
No, I don't
Someone
think
to
so.
remind me? No, I don't think so. No.
No.
Yeah, that's all I have to say, really. He can keep doing it for buts and maybes. We'll do absolutes. We've won 2 trophies.
I like
Yeah,
that, Sam. Good job, mate. Kyle, what about you?
Dr. Tottenham, please do not let me down. Please just don't lose to Burnley after putting in we just will put in a good performance against PSG and then lose to Burnley in the opening game of the season.
Or
There'll be
you-
head loss.
Or you put in a
Was
bad
that-
performance in both?
At least I'm kind of expecting that from the PSG one, but the Burnley,
It'll be fine, mate.
my head will be on Mars. So hopefully 2-0 to the boys.
We'll have to wait and see. That's a nice little prediction there. Char, what about you? We'll leave Corey till last because I think he can end it on a good note.
I'm just excited for football to be back. You know, at the end of the day, we all support different teams, there's rivalries, but I'm just looking forward to the game being back. You know, it's been a long summer, a stressful one for us Palace fans, but yeah, 1 trophy in the bag, 3 more to get this season.
Well, I'm not sure what Charlie
Looking
is.
forward to it.
Almost lost him. He's back a little bit. Well, thanks for that, Charles. From what we made out, you are stressed about the weekend, but you're looking forward to it, so that's great. We will finish with Mr. Corey. What have you got to say, mate?
First things first, Matt, you've lost your head. Go find it. It's great. Secondly, where is your gigantic 50p? You don't have one. We do. Unlucky.
I can't even 50p. That's great. That's great.
Dinner
And
plate
just-
of trophies.
Hey, we have one. We have one.
From like before Hitler was born, but we won't go into that.
There's been 2
Hitler was
World
21,
War
Hitler
VI,
was
by the
21.
way, and women have gained
Yeah.
the right to
Where's your
to
Sussex
vote.
Senior Cup?
Was 21,
We're not in
that's all I
Sussex, mate.
I
It's
don't
not
see a
really
Sussex
fair,
Sussex
is it?
Senior Cup in your.
I have one
Yeah, you
final
don't have one,
parting
do you?
thought. Just
Right, let's
one
not-
final parting thought.
We can't
And
talk
it is
about
that I was
trophies.
right about Florian Wirtz.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Sam is not impressed in the slightest. Well, Palace have a cup, a plate, so all they need now is a knife and fork. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. We will catch you very, very soon with some reaction from next weekend in the Premier League and also some Super Cup reaction as well. Have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for listening, and bye-bye.